Okay, I'm not a complete freak. I'm just wearing my coat inside the house because I'm gonna leave soon to go get my taxes done. Also, Matthew was so kind and brought us this chair and that chair. So now my living room looks like a crazy place because there's just two random chairs sitting in the middle of the floor. But also I'm getting a little bit of a cold, so I'm sorry. But I don't even know. Why is my adult life so difficult? Like, I don't understand. I had to go in August to get my hand. Let's see if you can see it. My hand sewn up when I stabbed myself. And I'm still trying to get that medical bill paid, even though I had insurance at the time. But because it was out of state, it's all a bunch of red tape. So last week, I filled out paperwork for my insurance to contest and try and get them to pay it because I had coverage, but they haven't gotten the bill because it's an out-of-state provider. So, sorry, my cat's making noise. So I filled out the paperwork to ask them to pay it, and I sent that in last week. Well, I got another bill from the hospital today, which is fine, they're going to send one every month. So I called, and I was like, okay, just so you know, I filled out the paperwork, I sent it in last week. It could take 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 3 months. I don't know how long it could take. It could take a long time for them to figure out whether or not they're going to pay it. But I had coverage, it's just a matter of the fact that you're an out-of-state provider and you didn't bill my Medicaid. And the lady was like, oh, well, I'll put a note in your file, but all we need is the number of the Medicaid office and your card number, and we can call and find out whether or not you had coverage. And if you had coverage, we just write this off because it was an emergency visit, and that's it, and we're done. And I was like, oh, okay, I will give you that number. She's like, yeah, it should just be on your Medicaid card. And I was like, well, I did turn in my Medicaid card when I received services. And she's like, let me look. She's like, I can't believe these people. We train them. We try to get them to do what they're supposed to do, and they just don't do it. And so she takes a minute, and I'm just sitting in my car like, I can't. I literally have been calling these people once a month, at least, since August when this happened. Trying to get this paid. And so she's like looking through her files and she says, oh, you do have a Medicaid card on file, and sure enough, here's the number right there. So I'll call them and see what I can do. I'll give you a call back if I can't figure it out. I'm like, okay, thank you. So I hang up. She calls them not once, twice. She calls me back. She says, I tried to call them. They said they couldn't give me any information because of HIPAA. And I was like, oh, okay. What do I need to do? And so she asked if I could call and figure out if there was somebody she should call, something that should be done so that they can get this bill taken care of, And so I got home. I called the Medicaid office. And the Medicaid office is like, oh yeah, right here in your file, it's recorded that somebody called twice today, but she called the wrong number. She has to call this other number, and I can't give you that number. And I'm like, I was like, well, isn't it just this number that's listed on our card as the provider help number? And she's like, I can't tell you the number, but you can read me the number you have, and I'll tell you if it's right or not. So I read her the number, and sure enough, it's the right number. And the lady that called from the hospital has that number too because it's on the back of my card, and that's what she got the number she called off of. So I don't know. All I know is that now tomorrow I have to call and be like, lady from the hospital, lady at the hospital, this is the number that they told me you should call. And if you call this number, they'll tell you if I had coverage, which I did, and then it should all be fine. But knowing my life, it probably won't be, because that's my life. But yeah, maybe I can get this hospital bill finally paid. Maybe not. Maybe I will always just owe this money. I mean, I would pay it if I could, but I don't have a job, so if they want the money, they have to call the insurance. But it sounds like they wouldn't even get money from the insurance, so I don't even know why it's just dumb, honestly, and none of them seem to know what they're doing. I have met one professional healthcare-ish person. They're not really the healthcare, they're like the business of the healthcare industry. I've met one person in that area of field that I have actually felt like knew what she was doing. One. Just one. No, none other. None other but that one.